StudyIQ IAS, अब तैयारी हुई अफोर्डेबल।
Hello, Namaskar, Namaskara, Namaskaram, Namaskar. My name is Pooja Devedi. Welcome to all of you in my class. This class will give you everything that you need for prelims. That is, the current affairs that are important from the perspective of your examination that I give to you on a daily basis, and the tricks to handle the upcoming UPSC 2024. How? Let's know that. But before I begin the class, I would like to inform you about a course that we have launched from today onwards, is the Prelims to Interview batch. If you're looking for a batch that is affordable, accessible, and also efficient, this batch is the correct batch for you, because we are going to provide everything for prelims, mains, and interview from the scratch. A detailed plan and study management is there. Other than that, you will get mentorship support. You will get your own customized study plan. You will get a mains residential program as well for those students who are enrolled in this batch and also have qualified prelims 2024. Everything is there, no out-of-pocket expense after you pay the fee of just rupees 60,000. But if you use the code PDLive, it will be made available to you at 29,999 only. And these will be live classes at 6 p.m. on a daily basis. And also from today onwards, we are starting our classes. Regular doubt sessions from mentors, faculties, everything is combined in this batch. So please do not worry about anything once you are enrolled into this. Moving ahead. Now, if we talk about the various events that we are going to cover, these are the various events that we are going to cover. First of all, let's talk about this. Consider the following statements with respect to groundwater. In India, the hard rock aquifers are found mostly in central India. Punjab, Haryana, and Rajasthan are the only states in India where groundwater extraction is more than 100%. Okay, so this is the question that we have to solve. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? Now, the first statement, of course, once you know what is groundwater, what are aquifers, then only you will be able to understand this question. Groundwater is the water that is stored into the ground, beneath the ground. That is why it is known as groundwater. It is replenished through rainwater, and when the groundwater permeates through the rocks or seeps into the ground through the rocks, these rocks are known as aquifers. And in central India, we have to know, first of all, the geography of central India. Geography of central India is such that their rocks are majorly hard and not alluvial. So the first statement is correct. In fact, 65% of the hard rocks, 65% of the hard rocks are found in central India, as in hard rock aquifers. This is why the first statement is correct. And yes, Punjab, Haryana, and Rajasthan are the only three states in India where groundwater extraction is more than 100%. The national average is actually 60%. All right. So these three states are highly dependent on groundwater for their domestic and irrigation and agricultural needs. Both the statements are actually correct. So we have to say C, both 1 and 2 is correct. See, groundwater, why have I asked you this question? The news is that the groundwater which has been pumped from the ground and moved to somewhere else to fulfill the domestic needs, agricultural needs, this has caused a problem. This has resulted in the Earth's axis tilting nearly 80 centimeter to the east. And also this has been, pumped into the oceans. Pumped, taken out from the ground and then went to the ocean. This has also caused a sea level rise because of that. And nearly 2,150 billion tons of groundwater has been pumped. Also, the Earth's rotational pole is the point along which the planet actually rotates. But the point which lies on the axis of the planet moves in a process. This process is called the polar motion. And like the globe that we have in our homes, from that we can see that the axis is fixed. But in actual, Earth's axis wobbles. And when this gets disengaged, it's like a spinning top gone off the kilter. And that is why the Earth's rotational pole tends to wander in circular pattern. In which pattern? Circular pattern, several meters wide every year. And this could be caused by weather, by seasonal changes, molten core, and even powerful hurricanes. It is relevant to the molten core only. The core and the axis, they have a relation. Groundwater is the water that actually seeps through the rocks and stored below the ground. As you can see, once the rain occurs, some stones are permeable. That means those stones which let the water pass easily through it. Some stones are not permeable. So the permeable rocks help the water seep the ground, and when the water reaches the ground, this gets stored over here, and this stored water is known as groundwater. And the point at which the groundwater has reached its maximum capacity over here, this is known as the water table. Water table. Alright, so that is why we talk about water table with respect to groundwater only. Aquifers are typically made up of gravel, sand, sandstone or limestone. Alright, I have already told you about the water table concept. Area where the water fills the aquifer is known as the saturated zone. See, this is the area which has been filled with groundwater, and that is why it is known as the saturated zone. The above one is known as unsaturated zone. Alright, moving ahead. Now, if we talk about the percentages that are found in India about the about the hard rock aquifers and the alluvial aquifers, 65% of India's overall aquifer surface area is mostly found in the central India, that I have already told you. Most of them peninsular India. These are extensive low storage aquifers. That means these, as they are hard in nature, they are not able to let a lot of water beneath the ground. That is why, because of their non-permeability, there is not a lot of groundwater in central India, and the water level tends to drop at a very abrupt speed once we reach this particular region, 2 to 6 meters. They have poor permeability and also non-replenishable. That means no matter how much rainwater is there, because they are non-permeable, they are not able to absorb a lot of water. That is why they cannot be replenished, because rain helps them to get replenished, and that is why extraction has to be done very cautiously. Now, in the Gangetic and Indus plains in northern India, there is excessive groundwater extraction, and that is why we have a lot of problem in the northern parts, because rain is there, but the extraction is actually exceeding the replenishment, and that is why Rajasthan, you have to talk about the states, right? So Punjab, Haryana and Rajasthan are the only three states in India where the extraction exceeds 100%. Majorly, this extraction is for area that is consumed by water guzzling crops such as paddy and cotton. These drink a lot of water for their nourishment, and other needs, of course, apart from irrigation, is domestic and industry. Now, which of the following is not a right bank tributary of the Brahmaputra? Subansiri, Dhansiri, Teesta and Manas. If you are clear with the concept, then only you can answer this question. I will tell you how. See, why have I asked you this question? First of all, because of the annual flood situation that always arises in Assam. Rivers are flowing above the danger level in different parts of the states, including Kopili in Kanpur and Puthimari in Kamrup district. So that is why this question has been asked. Subansiri, Teesta and Manas. These three rivers see a lot of floods because of them being a right bank tributary coming from the north. Dhansiri, on the other hand, doesn't see a lot of flood because it comes from the south. Why am I differentiating between north and south? We will see that. So Dhansiri is actually the correct answer. From the concept only, you do not need to learn everything and mug up everything. But of course, if you have a little bit of knowledge about the tributaries and the conceptual clarity about the nature of the south and the north tributaries of Brahmaputra, you can answer this question. Brahmaputra Valley has an average width of about 80 kilometers. And the main river of the valley, it is the Brahmaputra. Of course, it is one of the largest rivers in the world. It ranks 5th with respect to average discharge, the amount of water it lets flow. It actually emerges from the Kailash ranges of Himalaya at an elevation of 5,300 meter. Now, I have the map over here from Chamyangdang Glacier of the Kailash range. It goes like this, enters India through Arunachal Pradesh and starts flowing towards the different states. And as you can see, Subansiri, Manas and Teesta, these are the north or the right bank tributaries, and Kopili or Kapili, Dhansiri, Lohit and Dibang, these are the left bank tributaries. Alright, now I have also written it for you. If you want the PDF, you can see it in that, but don't just depend on the PDF, because I will tell you the tricks like I do as usual. So after flowing through Tibet, it enters in India through Arunachal Pradesh, flows through Assam and Bangladesh before it joins the Bay of Bengal. The catchment area is given over here, drainage area actually. In different states of India, Arunachal Pradesh has the largest, then Assam, Then West Bengal, Meghalaya, Nagaland and Sikkim. This could be asked in your prelims paper. Now the kind of soil that exists over there is red loamy soil and alluvial soil. These are the major soils. The other subtypes of soils also include sandy, loamy, clay and their combinations and laterite soil as well. This is the main issue when it comes to the recent floods, not recent but annual floods. It is mostly actually dependent upon the southwest monsoon, the amount of water that goes into Brahmaputra. And generally the flood regions, flood months are from May to September. And if we talk about the tributaries, from the north we have Subansiri. These are the right bank tributaries. All right. And this is the left. So from the north we have Subansiri, Rungandandi, Dikrong, Buroi, Borgong, Jibharali or Jiabharali, Dhansiri, Puthimari, Manas, Beki, A and Songkosh. And other than this, we have the south bank tributaries. Now I told you that north bank tributaries are much prone to flooding if we compare them to the south bank tributaries. Why? Because north bank tributaries, they have steep slopes. When they have steep slopes, they are able to flood easier because they do not have the land support. And they have shallow braided channels. Okay. And they have boulders, pebbles and coarse sandy beds as well, because when they flow along with the boulders, pebbles, etc., they cause a lot of silting. Sediments get all deposited over there. When sediments get deposited, the level of water comes up and they have flashy floods. Flashy floods means floods or water deluge all of a sudden. So these are flashy floods. Then south bank tributaries, they have comparatively, not completely, comparatively flatter grades and deep meandering channels. They also have comparatively low silt discharge. That is why their level is not so much up as compared to the north bank tributaries. With respect to MCA 1, consider the following statements. It has been a part of mission mode projects of the Government of India. It was launched in 2007 and the main aim is to help the business community to meet their statutory obligation. That means whatever compliance is needed under different tax, this is done through the e-governance initiative MCA 21. So what do we have to do? We have to see how many statements given above is or are correct. Okay. So first statement is definitely correct. It is on a mission mode project. Also, the versions have been upgraded. This was actually launched in 2006 and not 2007. That is why second statement is not correct. Third is definitely correct. Compliance is the biggest compliance for the community, business community is the biggest reason that the government launched this. So only the first and third statements are correct. 2 only will be the correct answer because we had to select the correct statements. Now the Government of India is going to have a detailed session over the MCA 21 glitches. What is wrong with the portal? And it is an initiative of the Ministry of Company Affairs and it is under an e-governance initiative. That means electronic governance, governance through Digital India. It enables an easy and secure access of the MCA services for the professionals, corporate entities and even the citizens of India. We can also look at it. This is designed to fully automate the enforcement of whatever laws are there under the Companies Act 1956 as well, Companies Act 2013 and Limited Liability Partnership Community to meet the statutory obligation and Companies Act of 2008 as well. So whatever statutory obligations or legal obligations are to be done, it is to be done through MCA 21. It is available through a single point of contact, launched in 2006, and there are many objectives such as providing easy access to public documents as well. It helps in faster and effective resolution of public grievances. And this is the major aim of all the digitalized e-governance initiatives. All right. So these are the different functions. You have to remember the functions as well. Once you know the concept, you will be able to know the functions because these are generally interrelated. So it will be provided to you in the PDF as well. Now, consider the following statements with respect to Gandhi Peace Prize. The award is open to all persons regardless of nationality, race, language, caste, creed or gender. The award carries a cash prize of 1 crore rupees and it can be conferred on an organization only. So we have to see how many statements given above is or are not correct. If we talk about Gandhi Peace Prize, yes, it is open to people or of all nationality, race, language, caste, creed and gender because of course Gandhiji talked about the world being one. So that is why concept is clear, then only you can handle this question. It does carry an award prize of rupees 1 crore and this is just factual in nature. It can be conferred on an organization only? No. It can be conferred on an organization or an individual. Both are eligible. So first is correct, second is correct, third is not correct. We had to select the not correct one only will be the correct answer. So the central government has decided to confer this Gandhi Peace Prize on the Gita Press, which was established in 1923. It is credited with publishing 417 million books in 14 languages. And why is it getting this award? Because of outstanding contribution towards social, economic and political transformation through non-violent and other Gandhian methods. Whichever organization or whoever the person is espousing Gandhian roots, then only they get this prize. So it's very good with respect to the Gandhian ideology. And this Gita Press is in Gorakhpur. I hope you know that. Now, if we talk about Gandhi Peace Prize, this prize was instituted by the Government of India in 1995, and it is an annual award. Remember this. These are the certain things that escape our mind once we read them. We think maybe it is biannual, maybe it is triannual, but no, it is annual. And it is a tribute that to Mahatma Gandhi, whatever ideals he espoused. It is given to a person or an organization regardless of nationality, race, language, caste, creed or gender. You have to read all this, okay? And remember this. And cash prize of 1 crore rupees is given along with a citation, a plaque. Because of it being a Gandhian principled award, then of course an exquisite traditional handcraft handloom item is also provided, because Gandhiji was in favor of khadi. Earlier organizations which have received this award include ISRO and Ramakrishna Mission. With respect to Tapas UAV, consider the following statements. It is enabled to carry a variety of payloads up to a maximum of 1000 kgs. It has an operating altitude of 30,000 feet. It is comparable in the same class as Israeli Heron UAV. So what do we have to do? We have to see how many statements given above is or are correct. No, first statement is definitely not correct, because it is just 350 kgs of payload. Up to 350 kgs of payload. So first statement is not correct. It has an operating altitude of this much? Yes. That is why it is comparable in the same category as Israeli Heron UAV. So how many statements are correct? If we have to look at, one statement is not correct, first one, second and third are correct. Two only will be the correct answer. So the Tapas UAV has recently took off from Chitradurga's aeronautical test range. It flew 285 kilometers and landed successfully on INS Subhadra. Alright, your homework is to look at INS Subhadra. Alright, this is developed by DRDO, Tapas UAV, and designed and developed. Designed also, if we talk about DRDO, it has developed it. But if we talk about the design, it is from Aeronautical Development Agency. Alright, and it is a medium altitude, long endurance, unmanned aerial vehicle. It has the capability of reconnaissance, surveillance, patrolling, intelligence gathering. This is considered on the same version, the same lines of Predator drones of the United States along with Israeli Heron as well. And DRDO has described it, if you go to the website, a MALE, that is medium altitude long endurance UAV. It has an operating altitude of 30,000 feet, endurance of 24 hours, that means it can stay on air for 24 hours, with Earth observation capabilities, SAR, synthetic aperture radar, and a range of more than 250 kilometers. Alright. Also, if we talk about the capability of carrying payloads, the maximum capability is of 350 kgs. Alright. So I hope you're understanding it accordingly. It is in the same class as Israeli Heron UAV. It could be a very good question if we talk about such important indigenously designed and developed categories of UAV. Alright. With respect to Nolamba dynasty, which of the statements is not correct? Now you must be thinking, what is Nolamba dynasty? I've never heard of it. Many of you must not have heard of it, because it has recently been given in the Hindu. That is why I have asked you this question. This is the beauty of this class, that you will get the fresh of the fresh news, which will be important for your examination. Their earlier capital was Chitradurga, which they later shifted to Hemavati. They possessed land that spanned the regions of Karnataka, parts of Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. The region ruled by them was called Nolambavadi, and they were feudatories only to the Pallavas. Actually, these were from the Pallava dynasty, as in they were the families, they were from the families of Pallava. So these were known as Nolamba Pallavas. Alright, and yes, their earlier capital was in Chitradurga. Later they shifted it to Hemavati in Andhra Pradesh. Alright, and the rule, or we can say the land they possessed, it ranged from almost a big chunk of Karnataka, parts of Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. The region which was ruled by them was known as Nolambavadi, and they were not only feudatories to the Pallavas but also Chalukyas of Badami, Rashtrakutas as well. So let us know about them. Also, the last statement is not correct. Option D will be the correct answer. We talk about this because of the debate around the Sengol. Recently, it was found out that the Nandi, which is atop of this 5 feet Sengol which has been installed in the parliament, it may be a royal insignia of the Nolamba Pallavas, and that is why this question has been asked. The Nandi on the golden orb, right, which is atop of this 5 feet Sengol which has been installed in the new parliament building, this belongs to the Nolamba Pallavas. And this is the Padmanandi, which is the symbol of the Nolamba Pallava kings. It is said or believed that this insignia was given to, or this has inspired the scepters which were held by the Chola kings in the Sengol. Okay, and why have we found out about this? Because the Nolamba emblem was etched or sculpted on the pillars of Mandapam of the temple, which tells us story about the parts of Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu and Hemavati being ruled by the Nolamba Pallavas from 730 CE to 1052 CE. And as you can see, the pillared Mandapam, which is known as the Agra Mandapam, has this emblem. Alright, and the emblem was sculpted in the form of Nandi, which is sitting on a blossoming lotus. Remember this, a prelims key fact. Also, next to the Nandi is the royal insignia, the Chatram, which is the umbrella. Below Nandi, there is a Kirti Mukham, which is a swallowing fierce monster face with huge fangs and gasping mouth. These are the iconography in the Nolamba dynasty. These belong to the Pallava family. The regions, when they became feudatory to the Pallavas, the regions which were ruled by them, these regions were to be said that the kingdoms of Banas or Vidumbas ruled over it. Banas and Vidumbas. And sometimes later, during the rule of Vikramaditya I, the Chalukyas regained these lost territories. And the Banas and the Vaidumbas, they had to change their political relationship from Pallavas to the Chalukyas. These chiefs soon to be known as Nolambas, and that is why it is important for us to know about them, because of Sengol, because of them being related to the Pallava family, and because of their changing feudal relationship as well. So the earlier capital was Chitradurga, later shifted to Hemavati. They possessed land that spanned across 1/3 of Karnataka, parts of Andhra Pradesh and TN, Tamil Nadu, and their rule actually extended for more than 300 years. They became feudatories to Pallavas, Chalukyas of Badamis, Gangas and Rashtrakutas. Later they went to Chalukyas of Kalyani. Whatever region they ruled was known as Nolambavadi. Alright, moving ahead to the other parts. The 55th member of the African Union is Libya, Nigeria, Morocco, Egypt. The correct answer is option C, that is Morocco. It joined in 2017. But why have I asked you this question? Let's know about that. Because G20 summit, India is the president, Prime Minister has called on the G20 members that we should let African Union to be a part of the full-time member of the G20. That will make it G21. So that is why African Union is important. It is a continental body which consists of the 55 member states that make up the continent of Africa. It was actually officially launched in 2002 as the Organization of African Unity. Alright, and the African Union was officially then launched in July 2002 in Durban. The aim is to have an integrated, prosperous and peaceful Africa, driven by its own citizens and representing a dynamic force in the global arena. And Morocco actually left the organization back in 1984 when a majority of the members started recognizing Western Sahara as a disputed territory. Western Sahara is a disputed territory between Morocco, Mauritania and Algeria, and this was considered to be a part of, according to Morocco, by the country of Morocco, it was said that it is ours. But when the African Union said, no, this is a disputed territory, so they left the previous organization and then rejoined in 2017 as the 55th member. Alright, that is why this question was asked. Now, significant day is, with respect to the sickle cell disease, consider the following statements. It is a group of inherited, that means genetic, what you pass on to your children, disorder affecting the red blood cells. A blood and bone marrow transplant is currently the only cure for sickle cell disease, and in India it is very prevalent in the tribal population. So this is the question that we have. How many statements given above is or are correct? First statement is definitely correct. It affects the red blood cells, making it sickle cell shaped. A blood and bone marrow transplant is the only cure. Through medicines you can manage and prolong your life, and it is very prevalent in the tribal region in the tribes of India. So first, second, third, all three are correct. All three will be the correct answer. Today is World Sickle Cell Awareness Day. The theme for this day is building and strengthening global sickle cell communities, formalizing newborn screening, and knowing your sickle cell disease traits. Okay, what is sickle cell disease? It is an inherited blood disorder. It actually affects the red blood cells which actually affect the hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is a protein that carries oxygen to the blood, and the condition affects about 20 million people in the world. Normally, the red blood cells are disc-shaped, so they can move through our arteries easily. But when we have sickle cell anemia, they turn into sickle cell. And because of that, they collide with each other. They cannot pass through the arteries very well, causing blockage. And this is the major issue. So it can cause stroke, eye problems, infections, and episodes of pain, which is called pain crises. It is a lifelong disease. Only blood and bone marrow transplant is currently a cure. Now, if you want the PDF of this class, you can contact me on my StudyIQ channel on Telegram. If you have any questions related to UPSC, you can definitely contact me on my Instagram. I will answer all your questions. So I hope you understood this class well. That's it. Thank you so much for watching.
StudyIQ IAS. अब तैयारी हुई अफोर्डेबल।